John D. Rockefeller. You've heard the name, right? Well, he didn't just build an oil empire. He basically wrote the software for modern corporate power. And yeah, it's a system that's quietly running your life every single day.
I mean, just think about your day so far. The gas you pumped into your car, that package you're waiting for, the quick search you just did on your phone. Every single one of those things, they all plug into this giant interconnected system.
So here's the crazy part. What if I told you that all of this, it's all running on the same 150-year-old software? Seriously, the operating system for today's biggest companies was basically written by one guy back in the 1870s. This isn't just a story about history. It's the story of a blueprint for monopoly, a set of rules that's been copied, perfected, and scaled up for over a century and a half.
I mean, just look at these numbers. It's insane. In 1870, Rockefeller had, 4% of the US oil refining market? Just 1 decade later, he controlled 90%. Let that sink in, 90. That's not luck, that's not an accident. That was a system, a brutally, unbelievably effective system.
So who was this guy? Who was the man who built this whole thing? To really get the system, you've got to get inside the head of its architect, John D. Rockefeller himself.
You know, he was a product of two completely opposite worlds. On one hand, you have his father, a literal con man, a snake oil salesman who taught him how to be absolutely ruthless. But on the other hand, his mother was a devout Baptist who gave him this unshakable sense of moral certainty, a belief in a divine purpose. And that combination, whoa, that was the key. He didn't just think building a monopoly was good business. He genuinely believed it was his mission from God.
So back in the 1850s, everyone was going crazy for the oil rush, right? It was this wild, chaotic gold rush, but for oil. Everyone's drilling holes in the ground. But Rockefeller, he saw something different. He stepped back and saw the real power wasn't in the drilling, it was in the refining. He looked at all that chaos and thought, I can bring order to this. It wasn't just about getting rich for him, it was about organizing the world.
And that mission, that drive for order, led him to create a 5-part blueprint. Now let me be clear. This isn't some dusty old history lesson. This is the exact playbook that's still in use today. Okay, so method number 1, vertical integration. Sounds kind of boring, but here's what it means. Instead of just refining oil, Rockefeller decided he was going to own, well, everything. The forests to make his own barrels, the tanker cars to ship the oil, the warehouses to store it, the whole shebang. By controlling every single step, he gave himself a cost advantage that nobody else could touch. All right, method number 2, and this is where it gets ruthless. Horizontal consolidation. Now that he had this unbeatable cost advantage, he could go to his competitors with a very simple offer. It was basically, sell your company to me for a fair price, or I will use my cost advantage to drive you into bankruptcy. Not much of a choice, right? And to see how this played out in real life, look no further than what history calls the Cleveland Massacre. In just 3 months, he used these brutal price wars to force pretty much every single competitor in the city to sell out. He went from being a somebody to a national powerhouse, practically overnight. Okay, but there was a problem. Back then, owning companies in a bunch of different states was a legal nightmare. So what do? Well, in 1882, Rockefeller's lawyers came up with a genius legal invention, the trust. Think of it like this. They created a new parent company that didn't actually do anything. It didn't make oil, it didn't ship anything. All it did was own the stock of all the other companies. It was this brilliant legal hack that let him control a nationwide empire from one single boardroom in New York. And the last 2 pieces of the blueprint really locked it all down. First, what we call regulatory capture. Basically, using his money and power to get politicians to write the rules in his favor. And second, something that seems good on the surface, philanthropy. He pioneered giving away huge amounts of money. And sure, it bought him a lot of goodwill, but it was also a masterstroke for avoiding taxes and shaping public policy for decades. Okay, so right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, didn't the government break up Standard Oil? And you're right, they did. In 1911, the Supreme Court finally brought the hammer down and declared it an illegal monopoly. But, and this is where the story gets really wild, the breakup didn't go the way anyone expected. Breaking up the company didn't destroy him. It made him way richer. Get this, Rockefeller got to keep his shares in all 34 of the new smaller companies. And as soon as they started competing with each other, their total value went through the roof. His personal fortune tripled. It literally made him the richest man in modern history. How's that for a paradox?
And the children of Standard Oil? You know them. We're talking about Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, Amoco. These are giants today. And the funniest part, over the next 100 years, a lot of these so-called competitors just merged back together. The monopoly wasn't really destroyed at all. It was just reorganized.
So let's fast forward, let's bring this back to today, because that 5-part blueprint we just walked through, it is, without a doubt, the operating system for the biggest, most powerful companies on Earth right now. Want to see the playbook in action? Let's look at Amazon. Rockefeller integrated vertically by owning barrels and railroads. What does Amazon do? It owns the warehouses, the delivery trucks, and even the cloud servers, AWS, that a lot of its competitors have to pay to use. How's that for an advantage? And horizontal consolidation? Rockefeller had the Cleveland Massacre. Amazon just buys up companies like Whole Foods, Zappos, Twitch, you name it. It is the exact same playbook, just with a digital upgrade.
And hey, remember that legal trick, the trust? Well, just look at Google. What is its parent company? Alphabet. It's a holding company. It owns dozens of other companies, YouTube, Waymo, DeepMind. That's the Standard Oil Trust, reborn and perfected for the 21st century. It's the perfect way to centralize power while making it super complicated for regulators to figure out.
And once you see this pattern, you start to see it everywhere. Big Pharma, they use regulatory capture to shape FDA rules and patent laws. The big banks? Yep, they use that same holding company structure. And today's tech billionaires? They use enormous foundations to influence policy and slash their tax bills. Exactly what Rockefeller did over 100 years ago. So look, this isn't some boring, abstract history lesson. This system has a direct line into your wallet. It affects the choices you make every single day. So the real question becomes, where do you fit into all this? Think about this number, $13,200. That's how much the average American spends every year that flows directly into companies using this exact blueprint. It's your gas money, your Amazon orders, your phone, your healthcare. The system is an engine designed to concentrate wealth at the top, and man, it works. But here's the tricky part, the nuance that Rockefeller himself would have pointed out. The system isn't so powerful because it's evil. It's powerful because it's efficient. I mean, Standard Oil made the price of kerosene plummet by 86%. It brought light into millions of homes. Amazon gets you a package in 2 days. The system works. It provides real convenience and value. And that's why it's so damn hard to escape. So what does that mean for you? Where do you go from here? As I see it, you've got 3 basic responses. Number 1, you can just accept it. Hey, enjoy the cheap prices and the fast delivery. Number 2, you can resist it. Support small businesses, get behind antitrust movements. Or number 3, position yourself accordingly. If you can't beat them, join them. If the system is designed to funnel wealth into these companies, well, you can own a piece of those companies. I want to leave you with a quote from the man himself. John D. Rockefeller once said, "Competition is a sin." He didn't see it as a good thing. To him, it was wasteful, messy, chaotic. He believed monopoly. That was order. That was efficiency. That was progress. He built an entire system based on that belief. And here we are 150 years later, living inside the world he designed. So the final question is, was he right?